Hello, hello, hello. My name is Jack Blade and welcome to my YouTube channel. We are playing some Satisfactory today. Specifically, we're gonna show some tips and tricks. And I had a commenter in the last tips and tricks video when I was talking about blueprints, asking more about modular blueprints. So to kill two birds with one stone, I am going to go over both modularity in the factory itself and in blueprints. So, first of all, what do we mean with modularity? Modular blueprints, but modular factories. It means that we have sections of the factory that we can extend or reduce depending on need, and the best way to do this is with the use of blueprints. So I have a few example blueprints and stuff mocked up here so I can show you guys. And the first one, if we talk about modularity in and of itself, you look at this. Let's say that this is 1/4 of the factory. We have 4 different blueprints. We're using some of our imagination here because I only have this blueprint. We're just going to use it 4 times. So this is module 1, and with module 1 we get all the smelters in. And then you have module 2. Module 2 will have all of the constructors. Module 3 has all the assemblers, and then Module 4 has all the like liquid transportation and stuff like that. Let's see if I can actually hook this up properly. There we go. So by just using those 4 different blueprints, you have the entire factory done. This is a modular factory, as in like the entire factory was planned out and segmented into blueprints so that you could just attach the modules to each other. And then once they are in, what you just do is you hook up the necessary logistics to one another so that the modules are communicating. And one of the questions that was posed in the comment was, how do you plan for the for the logistics between the blueprints, so to speak? And a very, very easy way that I do, if you look at, I have multiple examples up here, but one of the things that I tend to do is I have multiple blueprint planners set up like so. Like I can then take this, right? And I line it up with the first blueprint planner, like so. And I have multiple of them, right? So that I can just make the first part over here, right? So if let's say I'm making a logistics floor where I know that from here, I know I will have my resources coming in, then I do all the logistics for like sorting my resources here, right? Let's see, where do we got everything? Here, conveyor mergers, or conveyor splitters, sorry, that's what we want, right? So we know that we know the resources we're getting in, they're supposed to go on 4 lines. If we want to make it, let's make it a balanced output here. So they're connected now, there, and there. Then I know, if you look where these are aligned, right? You know where they're going in. So then for the next segment, for the next module, all I have to do is go, okay, I know that the logistics is coming in here. So what I do is I just go, okay, here's the first line, here's the second line. I'm just gonna place that there. So I got it prepped, and then same thing here. And then that is just like a design rule for you. Like if you know that all of your inlines are always split by 4, then you know that this section always needs 4 lines at the end of it, and this always needs 4 lines at the end of it. Meaning that that's how you connect them up. So that means that if you follow these rules, you can then do like an easy, this is always the starter module, this is always the next module. Then you can do whatever you want here, and this is whatever is always the next module, and you can just switch it up. Like if this goes into smelters, for example, you can then very easily connect that, and I have a perfect example of that. Let's go over here. I prepped this platform to show this specifically. So if I have, this is the start, okay? So in our brains, like a little bit of imaginary here, what we got is a massive iron refinery that we want to make. And using Mark V belts means that we can hook up a total of 12 in terms of the output to have that as a single logistic line. And if we look at what they actually need, you can see that they give us a lot more than we put in, which means we can put a lot more here and just split off the outlines, so to speak. But we need to work within the multiplication of 780 or division of 780 because that's the speed of the Mark V belt. So this is the first level of it, right? And this means that we have, like, I have made mistakes in this blueprint as well, but it means that the power, the logistics, and everything is already hooked up in this blueprint, or should be. And the fact that it isn't is entirely on me. And here we go. That's gonna go over here. They're gonna be hooked up to these pumps, right? So we already have the water and the inlines done here. Like these might be hooked up to, say, like a train station or directly to the raw resources that you want to process or whatever it is. And then on the other end, like here you have 12 refineries, but as you can see, there is no way, like 6 per line here. If I bring up the calculator and take 6 times 65 on the outline, that's 390. And if I take that with the iron input, that's definitely not 780. Like none of it, it's too little. So if I take the output as my base counter, this is what I calculate off of. That's 390. That means that I can take 2, like 12 on one line to get 780 in my output, so that I make 780 iron ingots per line here. Well, that means that I can just go in, and I've made a separate recipe, and the entire goal of that second recipe, if we go and connect this properly, there, and I just hook up the power, because that's already planned for, right? So if I just hook up the power, I can easily now just hook up the logistics here. I remove these two. They are basically placeholders. And I remove these two and I hook up a full pipe here instead. Right? And then I do the same thing down with the input. I do that with the output on both ends. Now I have hooked up 2 modules of iron refineries with 12 refineries in each line. So what I've done here is I have used modular blueprints to build a modular refinery or smelting setup for my iron. Alright, so with just this, and this is with, like, remember, this is with the tier 5 or Mark 5 belt. You have to basically, if you want to make stuff like this, you have to calculate it based off of what are your belt speeds, right? And like at least make one module maximum, and like uses a maximum of whatever belt you can have, so that you can scale it up and down based on that multiplication. Because the belt speeds decide everything, or whatever, like it is that you're trying to achieve. I just forgot to hook everything up when I was making these blueprints, didn't I? I'm really good at that. Double check. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Everything else is hooked up. Nope, this wasn't hooked up. There we go. So now what you see is I can attach any other blueprints to this, right? As a part of this modularity. So as you can see, I've prepped 2 lines here of what's it called? Outputs that goes up. Basically, in this imagined factory, I am dealing with like my logistics for dealing with this iron, whatever I'm doing with this. If I'm sending it off to a different factory or bringing it into being used for whatever reason, then I can literally just add a blueprint that is matched off of these using, like in this case, the big one, because that's where I made them. So if I bring up the smart blueprint or smart one again here, using H here so I can line them up perfectly, because otherwise the entire blueprint is going to be unaligned. And then from here, for example, if I want to hook this into like a train station that is upstairs, I just go in, I grab my train stations. I'm just hooking up some here so we can just look at it, because you know that that one comes from here. So what I can then do is grab a belt and prepare the logistics already. Like I know I want to plug these in here, so I'm gonna do this. And then same thing over here. Where is that alignment? It is here, which means that the belt is gonna come in over here, which I will then adapt. I'm gonna try and look over there and make sure that it's kind of similar. Oh shit, that scared the crap out of me. And there, now that's aligned. So if I just save this blueprint, I'm literally just gonna save it so I can show you guys. Down here, now if I want to align this here, it's gonna be quite an easy task, because all I have to do is like make sure that it is aligned with the what's it called? Foundations here, and then I place it, press H so that it locks in place, flip it so that it's in the right direction for me. Now you can see here it's too low, so let's lift it up, right, down one, there we go, and it is aligned like that, it is aligned like that. And now, because I did some thinking beforehand and lined things up in my blueprint designers, I have now also designed the output of my factory with blueprints. They are not aligned. Well, the idea is still there, and I think it's somewhat easy to understand. But if you have any questions when it comes to this stuff, like I would recommend, even if you have access or if you're using these super massive blueprint designers, start out here. And if you want to make sure that it's like an easy thing to deal with, don't necessarily start out with like logistics elements. Start out with the easier design elements instead, right? So instead of designing the most complex logistics system you can and build a whole ass factory, what you should be doing is figure out how to just connect different things, right? So take different design elements out of the architectural like parts here. And for example, let's go with walls, the 1 meter wall. Let's say that I want to make a grill. Like for the waterfall, I want to make something nice for that. That looks like water gets to flow past. Let's just go with this, right? And this is one module. where I just literally use the walls to create like a sense of like a water flow through system. Nothing complicated, right? And then on the outside here, just gonna grab half foundations and I'm gonna go for concrete. Concrete half foundations, I'm gonna put you guys in here. So that's gonna make part of this go away. So I'm just gonna remove the outer walls here because I don't need you guys. Okay, so with using the half foundation, now I'm gonna be extra careful and I'm gonna look at the orientation here and flip it like so. Right? And then on top here, let's grab a proper foundation, like a normal concrete foundation. I'm aligning it using the H key, zooping over. I'm also going to paint these, and I am going to paint them very like grayish, but they are still a different color than the concrete, so that they pop a little bit, right? Okay, then how do I connect this up with my second part here? Well, now that I know how high that is, it is 2 full 4 meter and 1 meter of foundation on top of that. Alright, so what I can do now is go, okay, here's a 4 meter, I'm gonna double check the direction of it so that it is the same. I have 2 modules, like this is way simpler to mess around with than the complexity of the entire like factories, like logistics and how you can make that modular. Then zoop like this, and I want to create more of a like a different. Let's see, what do we have? Do we have something fun here? Just checking around. Inverted quarter pipe. There we go. Because then I can mess around with this, make an entirely different design here that uses like also concrete but differently. And then let's go with walls and just have them like so. Boom. And then on the other side, I'm putting walls here too. I'm gonna leave this as the default color because it gives a little bit of a pop. And then if I save this as just saving it so I can see it, and then saving this, save, right? If I now go over here, here is where I want to build this. Along this long road, long one here. So what I can do here now is I can grab the foundations and align to world grid so I have the same foundation there. And I'm gonna grab the blueprint. I'm gonna grab the full one first, right? And this is aligned to the world grid already. So now I can just place this a little bit however I want, like so, and boom, there's number 1. I'm gonna remove these for now, I don't need them. And then I just grab the second blueprint and go with the griddle, and I press to align to blueprint, which then aligns them perfectly without me having to do anything. And I place these along the outline here, right? And then I go back to the normal one, full, there, right? And then over here I can literally just take this, flip it, it's already, flip, vertical, add the thing here, right? So in this case you have a very easy to use, no bother, like blueprint that still looks good. I'm gonna switch to a full here. There we go. As you can see, this is very, very easy to use. And then you can set this up with everything that you want from like the architectural menu and do whatever you want, because once you've had it, all that effort is gonna stay in your blueprint menu forever until you delete it. So this is a very, very simple way of practicing modularity and like how things connect, and then move on to practicing with conveyors and pipes and machines and stuff. When you got a bit better of a grip, like how the blueprints actually interact with each other, and move up. Just don't, I'm gonna keep repeating this. Don't rush yourself. Like it takes a fair few hours before you get a good grip of all of this, and I swear you will be great at it if you just give yourself time to become great at it. Okay? And if you want to show off, I want to see what you can do. If you want to show off, come to the Discord and show that off. If you like this video, please show up in the comments, give me a like, subscribe if you want to see more of these kinds of videos, and if you have questions or anything, comment as well. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good day, everyone. Bye!